Minister, the Governor of Nairobi, ladies and gentlemen, hamujambo. I think having listened to the presentations and comparing it with what we went through in 2013, there's a slight improvement in the preparedness, and I think that has been noted. However, I really want to still emphasize that sentiments that have been raised here are so pertinent that you have to address them before the end of the registration period. Especially what you yourselves have noted, the variances in the capacity of the kits. It cannot be accepted that one kit has the capacity to register 180, and another one, if I go by the words of the presenter, can register slightly less than 108. Now, if that is the case, therefore, that means where that kit that registers less than 108 has been stationed, then the people of that ward or constituency are suffering an injustice of not being given the same time to avail themselves to register. And you know, we are targeting very many young mothers who cannot avail themselves day after day after day. So you must register that. The other thing that I noted during your presentation was the fact that you yourselves have taken note that some of your clerks are very slow, that some can register in 15 minutes, some can register in 5 minutes. Now that must also be addressed, because how are we then, because we are all humans, how are we not to suspect that all the clerks that have been noted to be slow have not been clustered to certain constituencies or certain regions, so that it's a very intelligent, go slow kind of registration, and then at the end of 30 days, they have only registered half the people who could have been registered, when the high capacity clerks have been posted elsewhere. I thought this should have been addressed at the point of interview. When you interview, one of the things is in terms of speed, how many people one is supposed to register. So my plea is that in the first 3 days of this exercise, you are able to conduct a self-audit of your clerks and the number of people they have been able to register per day. And in case of any anomaly, then you transfer the slow clerks, or give us clerks whose capacity is at par across board. Lastly, is what we already talked about you considering population. This must be considered, in my opinion. I have seen places where the high population, there's no way we can say that you considered population and then area and then other factors, which anyway you have not shared with us, but then you still found it okay that in a place, let's say a ward with 200,000 people received 3 kits, and another ward with 30,000 people also received maybe 6 because they are vast. Why don't you consider maybe rotating 3 kits in that vast ward so that they are rotational, or they can be stationed in different places? Then you increase the capacity of the number of kits in areas that have high population, because again, that really just has to be addressed. Lastly, I think you must tell us, as interested parties, where the buck stops with, in case we have tried engaging with those at the ward, at the constituency, and we're not getting favorable response. Does it stop with you, or do you have a platform of engagement, like a small committee, whose details and contacts must be given to this group of persons, because then everybody here has an interest? But having said that, there was a very interesting question that came from your own proposals. You have given us projected figures, and these are the things that brought us problems in 2007. If you have projected that, let's say, one particular ward is going to register a maximum of 160. Okay, it is accepted. They can register 500 because transfers are expected, and you cannot stop it. But in case they register those high numbers, we expect you, after your own audit, to tell us which constituencies or wards were the casualties. Where did these votes come from? Where were they transferred from to this ward? So we expect that when we have a high number of votes in one ward, then we see a corresponding reduced number of registrations in a particular ward where these votes were taken from, or one county or something like that. And when you expose Kenyans to that kind of data, nobody will have a problem. We'll know that Nairobi registered 1 million extra votes, but then we then realized that Kiambu lost 1 million votes, so they registered 1 million less. So nobody will have a problem. Just tell us where the votes came from so that we see a corresponding increase and decrease. With that, I want to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome the governor, the majority leader of Nairobi County. Thank you very much.